had the thrill of seeing Ike and Tina tonight, but we have our own fabulous bluesman, Jim Byrnes, triple Juno winner, to tell us about seeing Ike and Tina at his neighborhood bar in St. Louis, Missouri, when he was a teenager, even before this film was shot.
Wow.
So, ladies and gentlemen, Jim Byrnes.
Ow! This is so cool.
Thanks, Melanie. Appreciate it. Yeah, this is an interesting film made by Bob Bruin. It's Bob Bruin and Najee. Bob and Najee, that was his wife. Bob Bruin was a still photographer, and I'm sure you're familiar with a lot of his work. He started out at the Newport Folk Festival in '65, where he shot Bob Dylan. When Bob Dylan tried to convince people that rock and roll was American folk music and was booed off the stage. That was the beginning of his photographic career, and he's many iconic images, but you know the image of John Lennon with the New York City t-shirt? That was taken by Bob Bruin, the fellow that made this film. Bob got into Ike and Tina. He had seen them at a jazz festival and was knocked out by Tina Turner. But think about it. What a concept. And driving back to New York, they pulled into a rest area on the interstate, and as they were hanging around, two limos pulled up, and it was Ike and Tina. And they got to talking to him, said they had seen their show, I'm a photographer, et cetera, et cetera. He went and took a number of pictures of Tina at a club in New York, and she loved the photos, and that everybody got along, and he kind of followed them around, took a lot of pictures. And these are basically, as he has said, this is basically home movies. It's not a documentary. This is Ike and Tina on the bus performing in the back of the car, hanging around with their family, and it's basically like a home movie. And he said, but I'm so glad I was able to do this because there is so little footage other than like Midnight Special or these little things of Ike and Tina. And this was at the period of their peak, 71 and 72. They were, you know, they had just come off the road with the Rolling Stones. I'm going to tell you just a little bit about that. I'm not going to go on too long because I could talk about Ike Turner for a long time.
Wow,
I
love this guy. Wow.
Henry Young is here tonight, and he and Tommy Chong and his band played with Ike Turner, Ike and Tina at the Blues Palace, 4th and Alma. Anybody remember that?
Wow.
1962. Yeah. And so these guys have been at it for quite a while. Ike Turner was a preacher's son from Clarksdale, Mississippi. Same hometown as Muddy Waters, John Lee Hooker, Sam Cooke. All these guys came from this little country town in Mississippi. Ike went, when he was about 17, went to Memphis and started to work for Sam Phillips at Sun Records. Ike Turner, no matter what else you ever think about him, was one of the great talent scouts of all time. He was the first guy. He brought Howlin' Wolf to Sam Phillips to make Howlin' Wolf's first record. He got B.B. King to sign with Modern Records, the By Harry Brothers Modern Records. This guy was a hustling little dude and a preacher's son and a teetotaler until he was about 35 years old when they went on the road with the Rolling Stones. They moved to St. Louis in '55 and started playing in clubs over on the east side, the Club DeLisa, Club Manhattan, and there was a club in my neighborhood, a place called the Club Imperial. It was a bowling alley, and it had a ballroom attached to it. Annie Mae Bullock, Tina Turner, her sister, Aileen, worked at a place called the Club DeLisa in East St. Louis, where Ike and Tina met. And she wanted to sing with him, and he said, oh, I don't know, baby, blah, blah, blah. Eventually, he heard her sing and said, well, yeah, you've got some talent, there's something going on here. So he hired her as a backup singer, called her Little Ann. And then in 1960, there was a guy named Art Lassiter, there was a guy named Billy Gales. They were all lead singers with Ike's band. And they had a recording session, and Art Lassiter didn't show up. Ike had this tune that he had written called A Fool in Love. And he wanted to demo it and send it to New York. And so he said, well, I'm going to get Little Annie to sing this tune. And she sang it. You just a fool, you think you in love. Okay, you remember that, you know. And he sent it to New York. And the Juggy Murray, who ran the label, listened to it and said, man, this is the shit. And And he said, he said, oh, no, this is just a demo. I'm going to have Art Lassiter. He said, no, this is not just a demo. We're putting this out. And it became a big, big hit. Now, in St. Louis, there were radio stations down at the end of the dial that you could turn in and you could hear this rhythm and blues music. But on the white teenage station where Bobby Rydell and Connie Francis and Pat Boone, and that's what, and all of a sudden this record came on, and this was, like I said, this was the shit, right there on your radio. And we used to, and we know these people, because we used to get to go see them. Every Tuesday and Friday night, they would hold court at the Club Imperial. And this was the beginning of the Ike and Tina thing. Now, remember that when Ike and Tina met, they were both married to other people and had children by these other people. And so this was a relationship that obviously, well, Bob Gruen, even the fellow who made this film, said that, what's love got to do with it, did a disservice to Ike Turner. Because, as we all know, the victor writes the history book, okay? And, of course, now she lives in Switzerland, and incredibly talented woman, and a force of nature, really. This is the thing that about Tina, is that, and the thing that made them so spectacular was her great, unbelievable talent. Now, the great influence that these guys had on me was we would go see this, and I was 13, 14 years old, and you'd go to the Club Imperial, and it'd be packed with women, and you'd look up on stage, and here were the Ikettes, like Vanetta Fields and Claudia Lanier, who went on to sing with Ray Charles and sing back up on the Rolling Stones album, Robbie Montgomery, the Ikettes, and Tina. And you look at this little guy standing in the back, playing the guitar and orchestrating everything, and you would think, man, what's going on with this cat? He plays the guitar. I want to quit talking. We hope you enjoy. I know you're going to dig this film. 2 years out of the life, on the road with Ike and Tina Turner. Here we go.